This is Silent Hill, the short message. We're here on PlayStation 5. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So this is a new free short take on the Silent Hill franchise. So it's kind of interesting. It's about an hour and a half long, maybe longer if you're a bit slower, or maybe you could be a little bit faster, but it's about 90 minutes essentially is the scope of this one. So it is free, so do keep that in mind as we talk about it. But yeah, I don't know if this really has a whole lot to do with Silent Hill, or if this is even something that would necessarily sell you on getting Silent Hill. It's a very, very weird concept for a project in this universe. It's not scary. It deals with modern social issues, bullying, suicide, stuff like that. So the messaging is good, I guess. It's a very convoluted story. It doesn't really make it makes sense, like you can get it, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like it's just confusing to kind of try to be confusing, if that comes across well. So yeah, a bit of a weird situation there. So what are we getting? This is using the latest and greatest from Unreal Engine, and it should be some sort of temporal 4K thing, up to 4K. It's 60 FPS targeting, but there are numerous scenes and moments where the frames drop, particularly in cinematics, where it like really just tanks. Sometimes during gameplay too, the frame rate will just tank. But like visually, it's really good looking. You know, it is just detailed, the graffiti, the level of density within the environment. It's more like a glorified tech demo, honestly, of what they can kind of do. And it's kind of interesting, but it's not really scary or terrifying. Like, it's supposed to be like a psychological thriller, but it's just kind of like a walking sim. You're just sort of walking, and then narrative is delivered to you occasionally, and you just kind of understand slowly what the story is and what happened between these characters. And it's a very, very bizarre kind of take on... Again, it doesn't really feel like a Silent Hill game. Like, Silent Hill games have definitely gone over some of the concepts and stuff that are developed and chatted about in this game. This is the second chapter. There's 3 chapters. I don't think you'll really get too spoiled from this, but you literally, you just kind of walk around, and then at the end of each chapter, there's like a situation where you are doing a bit of a slightly, like you walk most of the game, but at the end of the chapter you do like a bit of a slight like sprint, but not really, and then you usually have to like pick up stuff and then go to the next area.
What's this?
And then that's it. And you're just kind of going through the same areas kind of over and over again. Like, I'm kind of glad that I didn't have to pay for this, or that anyone had to pay for this. And it's kind of like more of a PSA, like a public service announcement, as opposed to like something that really sets up the Silent Hill universe. It deals with the troubles of, like, you know, texting and bullying and cyberbullying and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, and, you know, being a teenager, or I guess a young adult, because I think they were 18 or something, it says at one point, one of the characters at least, because they're preparing to go to college, and, like, yeah, that's kind of the big thing of this one. And it's, like, there's, like, a part of it where you're kind of in those running sequences, which maybe feel a little bit like Silent Hill, and there's this really beautiful blossom kind of, like, enemy character coming at you. And, like, again, it's free, but, like, I don't know if I really enjoyed this. It was just kind of, like, okay. Like, it was just kind of eh. I really wasn't too blown away by it. It was basically like Depression Quest, the video game. It was just depressing to be kind of depressing, if that makes sense. Usually the Silent Hill games, they're scary, they're terrifying. The themes, like, thematically, they have depressing themes and dark themes, and the concepts in them are kind of grim and whatnot, which is, you know, that's Silent Hill. But there's something about this kind of game experience or interactive experience that just didn't really feel on brand, and is a little bizarre for being a Silent. Like, you could have named this something else. Obviously, the Silent Hill term is gonna bring people in and be intrigued by it. But like, I don't know. It's just kind of a short, brief kind of thing. If you just want to go through a pretty grim, depressing thing where everything kind of sucks and it's kind of hammered into you over and over again. That's kind of what this journey is. So we've got three ladies that are at the centerpiece of this. There's Maya there, who's the subject of like these little filmed video clips, and then there's Emily, who's kind of your friend, and all three of you are kind of, you have interactions through friendship and stuff together, and
I can't wait to read more.
So creepy. And yeah, your character is kind of in the mix of these two, and obviously you're going through your perspective and slowly figuring out what exactly happened, what you're supposed to find, the hidden secrets. I'm looking side to side, but there's not really anything to actually like be scared of here. Like, these are just parts that are delivering story. You're just walking around interacting with pages, and you just kind of like read stuff and you get information, and it kind of hits the culture and the dialogue of today, and then it just kind of ends. I don't know, like, I was just expecting Silent Hill, and I feel like we really didn't get Silent Hill, and I just really kind of found this to be a little boring and uninteresting. I really do wish it was more intriguing, but I don't know. It's okay if you know what you're going in for, and it's free, so it doesn't hurt to try it and see if you like it or whatever, and I mean, see if you enjoy it to any degree. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people probably play a few minutes of this and be like, okay, this is pointless, and just uninstall it. Whereas some will be like, oh, this was all right. It was fine, but I don't know. It's just kind of like a really dreary, depressing tale about suicide and bullying and sorrows, and I'm not expecting a hyped up, exciting adventure in Silent Hill. It's not sunshine and rainbows for sure, but I was just sort of anticipating something a bit more interactive and terrifying and scary, and it was more like, oh, these people all need like a good hug, as opposed to being like, oh no, what's happening? What are the demons here? What's the deeper meaning? And yeah, I think just by the end of it, I had more than my fill of this, probably more than my fill of it, and some of the randomness is just sort of weird, and you go running through hallways. I don't know. I wouldn't say this was anything crazy or wild, and I don't think this would sell me on a Silent Hill experience, but maybe for others it will. That's why these types of things exist, and it was interesting. It was interesting, I would say.